And that is the riff. All right, let's move on. Here, joining me on set, Charlie Hurt, the great Charlie Hurt, co-host of Fox and Friends Weekend, and Gianno Caldwell, Fox News political analyst who was somewhere out there in the ether zone. Hello, Gianno. Charlie,
can I be the great Gianno Caldwell?
You can be the great. You are the great Gianno Caldwell. We got two.
Indeed.
We got two greats and one has been. All right. So let's talk, Charlie. It is a scourge. I mean, it is socialist or communist state run to give them everything for free, raising taxes. Yeah. But I just find the bigotry and the anti-Semitism, frankly, to be the worst part of that story. And that's why I am pushing my Republican friends. I mean, I'd love to see it in the Democratic Party, but they have to speak out more, even more directly on this, because if you start with, bigotry against one group, in this case, the Jewish people, it's going to spread. Next is Catholics. It will spread, and we've seen this before in history.
Oh, we have. And of course, look who's driving this push towards socialism in this country today. It's young people. And it's young people who didn't live through the 20th century. And the farther you get away from the 20th century, where we had great examples of socialism, and the Nazis were socialists, and of course the Soviet Union were socialists. And we got to see up close and personal just how crushing those governments were. And by the way, the crushing tyrannical nature of socialism is not some sort of bug in the system. It is the point of the system. That's what it's all about. And I think a lot of these people, because the left-wingers have taken over the universities, they've managed to not teach it anymore. They also were born at a time where they weren't exposed to it themselves. They don't realize that if you believe in multiculturalism, or you believe in diversity or tolerance, it does not exist under socialism. And President Trump is exactly right, and your riff was beautiful, dead on right. They believe in government, not God. No. That's why they don't believe in God, because God is a competition with them, their leadership as government.
And Gianno, the next point here is basically they're the tail that's wagging the whole Democratic Party dog. That's the way I see it. And I don't see, and I hope somebody corrects me, but I don't see any Democrats, most particularly Chuck Schumer, who's perhaps the leading Jewish office holder. But regardless whether you're Catholic or Jewish or Presbyterian, I don't care, black, white, or someplace in between. Nobody's taken them on. That's the point I want to make. And here in New York, we have a governor who's a complete coward, Hochul. She's being pushed around by Mandami. Somebody's got to take this issue on head on. Now, the president was almost there today, but I don't think he was direct as I'd like to see him, Gianno.
Well, and here it is. There's more that can be done. And what I got to tell you is, when it comes to the politicians of today, especially the Democrats who have been mainstream Democrats, Kathy Hochul, Chuck Schumer, etc., now they recognize with voices like AOC, with voices like Mandani and others who have had this rise within their party and have really usurped power from their base, because they have now folks falling in line with what socialism is. They're calling it democratic socialism. That's the idea. They make it try to sound cute, but the truth is, in most of these instances, it leads with death. And now I got to tell you, just to get some quick numbers, in 2017, we saw about 35 Democratic Socialists that were in office at that time. Now, after 2024, it's over 200. They got almost 200 running today that are either running or have ran. The Democratic Party is being taken over by far leftists who don't believe in America anymore. We've seen the recent polling that showed that only 25% of Democrats believe that America is a positive place of change. They don't believe in America anymore. They can't say it because their base will be so far against them. All they care about is hating Trump, not supporting the country, not solving the issues that the American people have demanded of them, but hating Trump. And those who are willing to go that far left, those are the ones who are the loudest voices in the Democratic Party and who are getting all the attention on MS Now, CNN, and other networks. They're not going to shift because they know they will lose power.
Charlie, I'm going to make a point. The Mandami socialists and their bigotry and their anti-Semitism, they worship at the shrine of Palestine. not America.
Yeah.
It is astonishing to me how, I mean, by the way, the mayor of New York has no foreign policy responsibilities whatsoever, but that's all he talks about, okay? And his socialist friends, this woman that won, she was the leader at the Palestine, pro-Palestine rally at Columbia University the day after the massacre, Hamas massacre of the Israelis and others way back in 2023. I mean, Palestine, not America. Now,
Right.
that's the problem as I see it, and that's something else that they should be called out on.
Yeah, and it's even worse than that. Brad Lander, who
Yes.
just beat Dan
Yes.
Goldman in a very contentious Democrat primary here in the New York City area, Brad Lander himself disassociated himself, left the Democrat Socialist of America Party, the DSA, because, according to him, that group celebrated the October 7th terrorist attack on Israel. Fast forward from that moment to now, he's campaigning with the DSA. So Brad Lander, who's going to be the next congressman from that district, from that New York area district in Congress, by his own definition, is campaigning alongside a group that he claims was celebrating the October 7th terrorist attack. It tells you all you need to know about these people.
How much influence, Gianno, how much real influence are they going to have inside the Democratic Party? Now, here, let me divide it up. It's anti-Israel. Democrats have deserted Israel. Okay, that's part of the anti-Semitism. Blame Israel. All right, Israel's a code word for Jewish people. That's a silly thing to say, but in a sense, that's what they're doing. It's a code word for anti-Semitism. Now, besides that, they are socialists, or Mr. Trump called them communists, whatever. They want to give everything away for free. They want to tax all manner of wealth. They want to take over corporations. They want to end the U.S. Senate. They want to end the military. They want open borders and all the rest. Now, that is looking like the Democratic platform. Now, if Republicans can't go to lunch on that, they ought to hang it up, because this is just the most ridiculous platform I've ever seen.
Well, if you think back to when Biden was running, we saw progressives, AOC and others, who said, we're going to push Biden far to the left. Because remember, they were trying to sell him as a moderate. That's what they said. We're going to push him far to the left. And what we saw over 4 years with Joe Biden was he did get pushed far to the left. And the Democratic Party became that far left. All the voices that you hear nowadays, they're not reasonable people outside of Senator Fetterman. That's the only one that you can really name. The Democratic Party is the leftist party now. They left America. They left the middle class. They left the unions. And that's why a lot of people in 2024 went out and voted for Donald Trump, young people included, because the Democratic Party is not the party that we grew up with. It's not your grandfather's party anymore. It is a socialist party where government rules. They had a billionaire tax that they were advocating for in California. A lot of billionaires left. Not what you see. You see Gavin Newsom just today talking about we need a billionaire tax nationally.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That wasn't what he was saying just a couple months ago. He was saying we shouldn't do that in California. Now this is his platform.
Yes, Gavin Newsom. Charlie, I'm going to end with you. Republicans, what are they going to do? They've got to, I mean, you go ahead. I want them out for blood. I want them out for blood.
Yeah, we talked about this at the beginning of the year. At the beginning of the year, I would have predicted that Republicans are going to get wiped out this year. All the headwinds are against them.
Oh.
It's the second midterm of it's the second midterm of a presidency. All the wins go in favor of Democrats. I don't believe that anymore. I believe that Republicans could hold the Senate very comfortably, and I think that it's even possible that they could wind up holding the House because of everything you're talking about right here, where you've got this left wing of the Democrat Party that's taken over. Twice, the Democrat Party has rigged their own primary to keep Bernie Sanders out of the kitchen of the Democrat Party. Will they do it again? I don't know. I don't know if they can.
Can he run again? I mean, I don't know how old he is. Who runs? Who represents?
I think AOC.
AOC.
I think AOC.
AOC.
Yeah.
The great Gianno Caldwell, is there AOC president in our future?
I don't think so. I honestly don't see it. And I agree with Charlie's point, too. I thought that it was going to be a real tough one for the Republicans because historically it is. And then we saw what happened with Iran, et cetera. But now we see redistricting and the fact that the Postmaster General said he's not going to send out any of these mail-in ballots until these states give over their voter rolls, which I think is the appropriate thing to do. The government should be able to look at that. So a lot of times we see with these very close elections in states like California, what happens? The candidate that should have won, Spencer Pratt, all these mail-in votes, and we don't know what the chain of custody is. You can't get the voter rolls. It's a monopoly there in the state of California. But now with the Postmaster General stepping in across multiple states, I think we may see some changes there.
So we can save America. We'll end it on that. We can save America.
End on a high note.
I love that. The great Gianno Caldwell and the equally great Charlie Hurd.